Thanks for making Locked On Bulls your first listen of the day. Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. On today's episode, me and Pat will get into the Bulls' loss against the Miami Heat, talk about Coby White and some of the things he did after the game that pissed me and Pat off even further. And we'll also get into some other news, all on today's episode of Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Pat, I don't know what to say, man. I had one hope for this Bulls team in the game against Miami. All I wanted to see is my team not get blown out. They got blown out. Home court. Yeah, man. What did you make of this game? How frustrated did you get? All that stuff, man. Let's go ahead and get into it.
You know what's crazy? Like, I was probably less frustrated at this game than I am, because this was a game, right, where if the Bulls lost it, at least lose it doing the things that we've said to do. Now, I would love to not get blown out. You end up getting beat 127-109. Tough loss. Hate it, right? Hate it. But I can't say they didn't go into Vooch. I can't say that they didn't do what we've asked them to do with, hey, get the ball down there, get the ball into them, do everything that you can. That has worked. Go with the hot hand. Zach LaVine was hot, started off 3 for 3. They kept giving him the ball. They tried to work DeMar in slowly. DeMar had an off night. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I wasn't as pissed off as I was with most of these games, because this told me we're not on Miami's level yet. Guess what?
Yeah.
I knew that already. Coming into this game, I knew you might get the dub, you might beat them, but we're not on Miami's level yet. We know that. That's okay. This is year one of a growing process. But what I didn't want to come into this game was and be like, hey, we're Shaq. We do the things that work in practice, and then we don't do them when the game comes into play. So I wasn't as irritated by this loss as other losses that we've had. The one thing that still irritates me, and you really can't do much about it, is the fact that we're just not able to knock down shots when we needed to. And it was the disrespectful way that Miami gave it to us. All night, they played the percentages and said, knock down a shot. I dare you to knock down a three. We're not closing out on them. We went 9 for 34. I would say probably 25 of those three-point shots was uncontested, because it was Javonte Green in the corner. It was Coby White. It was Vooch deep on some of those threes. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. I would say a good chunk of those were uncontested three-pointers, minus like maybe Zach LaVine's, which they tried to close out on him because he had gotten so hot early. So, like, the inability to knock down shots is more irritating to me than anything. And I feel like that's just how this team was constructed. There's 4 scorers on this team. If one of those scorers isn't playing well, guess what? You're going to have a tough time winning the ball game.
Sure.
I mean, what'd you see? What'd you see that in this game that you felt really led to the Bulls' demise when it came down to offense, defense, whatever it may be?
Well, in the first half, it was very much so Miami was hitting shots that were contested. Bam was, I could think of 3 shots Bam made that literally, it was almost the perfect defense that you wanted to play on him.
Yeah.
He just knocked down the shot. But then, you know, you said that we did try to go to Vooch, and we did. I wasn't as consistent as I would have liked to see, but it all comes down to the missing the wide open shots. It comes down to to Coby White going 0 for 9. It comes down to, you know, Patrick Williams came in. Zach set the tone, or tried to set the tone early, right? Yep. And the Bulls, I think, were up briefly, but then, you know, Miami came battling back. When Pat got in the game, those 2 quick blocks, he brought the energy that we needed to see from Patrick Williams. But at the end of the day, it came down to the ability to knock down shots, and the Bulls just didn't. 26% overall from the 3-point range. Even if the Bulls get that up to 40%, the outlook of this game looks completely different.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to point it at certain things, that it just really comes down to not hitting shots. And again, what we saw is the lack of cutting without the ball, the lack of movement.
True.
Stacey King had so many times where in between play, he would point out how if players just moved without the ball, how they would have either gotten an open shot or a lane to the hoop to create some other things. That's the type of thing that really frustrates me about this team, the lack of ball move. The one thing that we have always been successful in is that when we move without the ball and in transition, that was another thing starting off in this game. The Bulls got 2 or 3 turnovers quick in the first quarter that they turned into easy transition points. It's things like that. The lack of defensive intensity. Now, there were times where they were rotating very well out, but Tyler Hero going off on us. Vincent didn't even know who this guy was before that night. 13 points off the bench from us. Dedmon getting hot again. Like, and Dedmon's a player that does that. Don't get me wrong. Dedmon is a player who can come in, do some things defensively and offensively for teams, but it really, really was frustrating. Once Jimmy Butler started taking threes,
Hey,
like he
broke
was
so many Bulls fans.
like he was Steph Curry. I was just like, here, it's gonna be that type of night, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna be that type of night.
It's weird, bro, because it's like I look at this game and I didn't feel like the Bulls did things poorly that we've said, hey, they do this poorly. Like, I mean, yeah, like the pick and roll defense wasn't great, but then they got Vooch out of there and they they got Vooch out of there and they put P. Will in and it worked. They got different lineups in. They did good things. I think Billy Donovan actually did some good things in this game. It comes down to one thing, like we said, knocking down shots. I mean, you look at the numbers, rebounding wise, pretty much even 41-39. Bulls actually dominated the offensive rebound battle.
Yeah.
11-5 won that. Bulls dominated the blocks. Bulls dominated turnovers. Miami had 9 turnovers. Bulls only had 5 turnovers in the whole game. Here's the difference, and I think the Bulls actually played like you said, like it was another game where teams were just knocking down shots on good closeouts from the Bulls to me. But here's the difference: Miami has 35 in the second. You got 27 because you can't knock down open shots. Miami had 32 in the third. You got 22 because you can't knock down open shots. You scored 30 in the fourth because guess what? You started knocking down open shots.
Yeah.
They gave you the same shots all day. It got disrespectful at how
Udonis Haslem with his fire marshal bill patches in his head checked into the game, and that was disrespectful.
Hey, no, the biggest disrespect for me was Dedmon taking multiple 3-pointers.
Oh yeah, that's
consistent. Like he was just like pulling them. I was like, let's go. Boom. Let's see what
I'm
that
Dirk
is.
tonight, fam.
Bro, and it was funny to see because it was like, are y'all gonna do anything about it? Are y'all gonna fire? Are y'all gonna show anything? And it's just, I mean, listen, you can point the blame at a lot of people. For me, there's literally 4 scorers on this team: Vooch, Zach, DeMar, Coby. 3 of your 4 scorers couldn't get the job done, and one of your scorers was trying to feed the others.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How many times did we see Vooch when he did get the ball down low? Listen, Vooch isn't going to have a great offensive night on Bam. That's fine. But guess what he did? He got the ball down low. Double teams came. How many times did he find Ayo Dosunmu, who we absolutely can start getting off for not knocking down these open threes? I think he's shooting like 26% over the last month from the 3-point line. And Coby White. How many times did he find those guys wide open? How many times did he find a Javante? How many times did he find, you know what I'm saying? Guys that, hey, listen, I understand that you're here for defense, but you also have to play a little bit on the offensive end. And I'm sorry, you're an NBA player. You should be able to knock down an open jump shot. It's just, I don't know. And so, like, I get like everybody, you know, because I did that, we got to stop the Vooch slander. Everybody came running after me. Oh, I told you about Vooch. You shouldn't have. Here we go. Come on, dog. That's what we doing. like y'all not watching him kick the ball out. Not okay. All right, that's cool.
People who want to just narrow in on a player like that in that type, they just don't know basketball, fam. Like they just really just don't know basketball, like the actual game. So it comes with the territory, right? And every sport has their fans and commentators like that. But like you said, at the end of this, it was just a deflating loss, and just watching this game as it got further and further away from the Bulls,
Yeah.
you got more and more frustrated. It just was one of those nights that the Bulls did not have it. They weren't prepared. And they lost to a better team doing, and with better effort and better shooting, right? You could see the Bulls winning this type of game, even though the Miami Heat are a better team than them, but it didn't happen. But you know what? We're going to get into one of the reasons that it didn't happen. One of those players that just couldn't knock down any shots. He was 0 for 9 from the game. We're going to talk about Coby White, but first I got to talk to you guys about Built Bar. First of all, Built Bars, we already know they're healthy for you. 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. Now, if you compare that to candy bars, which they taste like a candy bar, it's 200. They have 240 calories and 30 grams of sugar and dozens of net carbs. Listen, Built Bars are not only good for you, but they taste good as well. If you're trying to get your health in order, if you're trying to eat better, if you're trying to find something that can help curb your appetite between meals, Built Bar got you covered. Me and Pat been telling you guys about the puffs. We ain't heard from none of you guys saying you've tried the puffs. Try the puffs, guys. Try the puffs.
Fire,
Also, huh?
I said the puffs fire, bro. Y'all missing.
Puffs fire, the mint brownie, coconut almond, and the flavor of this month, the white chocolate cookies and cream. Come on, man. It's cookies and cream. So we got an offer for you. If you go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 and you get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order at builtbar.com. All right, let's go ahead and get into this one. Pat, for anyone who hasn't seen your video, man, it's hilarious. Coby White, who was 0 for 9, I'm going to keep saying it, in this game. He's a stat came out. He's like 3 for 23 in the last 3 games.
3 for 26.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's wild. But even with that being said, in a player who's just not playing well, in the post-game interview, he was giving play-by-play for his team being in the Final Four in North Carolina, and then had the nerve to say, we won. And no, we did not. You were no longer a Tar Heel. We lost. It was listen, I know it was coming off a loss. I was more fired up about it because it was coming off a loss. If this same thing happened after a win, even if he played the way he played, I wouldn't have given him much crap. But Pat, I'm gonna give you the floor on this one, man. Coby White in the game against Miami.
I mean, listen, we can. You want to show the clip? We got the clip.
We got the clip.
We got the clip. If you want to show the clip, let's see.
This deep in, like on the verge of going to the playoffs.
We won. Top it up. I know I didn't just hit.
Yo.
I know I didn't. On the night that he shot 0 for 9. Talking about his college game. I know I didn't. Put a smile on his face. I know for a fact I didn't see that.
Wait, time out though. Dog, it was North Carolina won. Clap it up.
Clap what up? Clap up the fact that you was 0 for 9 and you absolutely just attributed to your team taking one of the biggest L's of the year at one of the most crucial moments. Clap it up for that.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's wild.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I will admit, when the clip came out, I watched it. A little bit of an overreaction. A little bit of an overreaction. Listen, you're not gonna see no ESPN or mugs like this that go on a rant like that, talking about a little bit of an overreaction on my part, right? He's excited that his college team won. I feel like that's the wrong time to do it, but a little bit of an overreaction. But there is no overreaction to the reason why it sent me over the edge. As I said before, Coby White is your bench scoring. Mm-hmm. Coby White has been given every opportunity, and I refuse to be one of these Bulls fans that is just like, hey, listen, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. What don't you get about open shots? They don't respect you. Like, I get it if Coby can't knock down the contested three, falling away, trying to get this one to go. Coby White's wide open. They're playing off of him. They're letting him shoot. He's Coby White. He does one thing. So it's the fact that he went, 0 for 9?
Mm-hmm.
And he had that moment after having such a bad night. Like, I get, like, what's he supposed to do? Be upset about it? Yes. What's he supposed to do? Cry about it? You don't got to cry, but you should be pissed. Shout out to the Tar Heels for making it. He went to school there. Shout out to him. But I mean, you should be upset. This is your career, and I'm gonna be real with you, right? It tells me right now that the best we can hope for from him is probably a role player, because that's a mentality thing. That's a mentality thing. If he proves me wrong, great. Hope that he does. Hope that he becomes a star for the Chicago Bulls. Hope that he's the future of our team. But that mentality there, when you have an awful night, and yes, I know everybody said he stayed after, he put up shots, he did. I get it. But there's a mentality thing where those best players in the league, when they have bad nights, there's nothing that takes their mind off of that night except coming out the next night and dominating and going to work and being, it's just something about showing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he's not outwardly showing that he's upset by it. And I feel like that's what irritated me, because I'm like, dog, we've defended you. I want you to be good. I want you to be great. I want you to be this dominant shooter in the NBA. I said you could be Jamal Murray. You could have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he doesn't have the right mentality for it. And I know people are going to say, he's 21. How is Jamal Murray? What, 25?
Yeah, I don't know. Kobe,
Like,
yeah,
it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, he just recently turned 22. The thing that getting from that is very much that he's a kid, but I think also the thing that, so like DeMar, for example, that time that DeMar missed all those free throws, what was he doing? He was in there after the game shooting a bunch of free throws to get him up, to get himself back in rhythm. We need to see something for Coby White. Listen,
he did do that. He did do that, to credit him. In the game before this, he came out and missed 9 shots again.
Yeah.
But he did after who we played before the Clippers?
That would have been
after the Clippers game. After the Clippers game, he stayed after late. He was putting up shots, trying to get himself back in rhythm, trying to get out the slump. I give him credit for that. I just feel like, for me personally, that was the wrong time to be talking about the Tar Heels and giving the play-by-play and doing all of that. But I'm also not, like, I can admit, a little bit of an overreaction on my part. I was playing crotchety old man on that one.
To me, the thing with Coby White that's so frustrating is that they're wide open. Like, literally, there's so many of them are wide open. Wow. I broke it down and how it changes the outlook of the game. So, for example, Coby this season is a 38% 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
So if you get even those normal averages, right? That's Coby shooting 2 more threes, making those threes. That's 6 points. Then his field goals. Let's give him one of those. He shot 2 regular field goals, right? That's 8 points. That is 8 more points to bring this team. Like, yeah, that's only 117. We said everybody else needs to shoot better, but literally, that is 8 more points to the 2 that they already had. That's 10 points that we needed. We needed every bit of those, right?
Yeah.
God forbid he got hot. Like, they were wide open shots. And looking at the way that Coby's season has gone down the stretch, I know the Bulls have been on a slump overall, but Coby, it's not just one game, right? It's not just 2 games back to back. It's literally been, out of the last handful of games, the last 10 or so games, he's had some double-digit games over that stretch, but the shooting percentages are terrible. Something needs to happen with Coby. He needs to get his stuff together, because this is not going to cut it. And Coby, unfortunately, with the way that our bench is currently constructed, we don't have a lot of scoring off the bench. We need Coby White to give us at least 10 to 12 off the bench, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, we need about 15 to 16, but we'll take 10 or 12. Come on, Coby. You got to give us something, brother.
No, 100%, dog. And I think the thing that you got to think about with Coby is, like, yeah, he doesn't. even if he makes all of those shots, it doesn't change the game. Or even if he makes half of these shots, it doesn't change the outcome. Okay, but it does change how Miami has to play defense against you. Right?
That's
They were
true.
giving you disrespectfully open shots. You know what they were doing off of those open shots? Let's crowd the paint. Vooch ain't going to get a rebound. Let's crowd the paint. We're going to make it hard for them to get a rebound down here, which is why I actually give credit to the Bulls for winning the offensive board battle, because like literally they were just like, yep, sag off, play down.
Yeah.
We're going to be down here. We're going to smother the paint and let them shoot the three ball. And we're going to live with the percentages, right? So that one, it changes the game dramatically for you, because even with that, right, like we've seen it when if he can get going, if he can knock down 2-3 in a row, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Kobe's finna have a night. He could go for 30 tonight. And that could be something that changes your game. So you definitely need more from Coby White. I can admit a little bit of an overreaction on my part. I hold that one. That's an L. It's also, y'all know the weekend streams be a little bit of an alcoholic stream. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of a drinking stream. I don't know. Alcoholic was probably the wrong word there. A little drinking on the stream. You know what I'm saying? We keep it dilly out here. Hey, man. Speaking of keeping it dilly, we want to let you guys know about betonline.net. Betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find out the latest sports development, including this week's Masters Championship odds, podcasts, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and stores. Head to the website to use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
There you go. All right, Pat. So heading into the last now 4 games of the season, Bulls are back in 5th place because the Cavs lost. Their magic number is 1 to seal them to not be in the playing game. As of right now, they still can go as low as the playing game. So to avoid that, the Bulls either need another Cavs loss or another win. So my question is, we know we got Milwaukee, Boston back to back. We got Charlotte, we got Minnesota all this week. This is how we're finishing the season. Do you think the Bulls not only are going to do enough, but how do they get there? Patrick Williams has come on. Do you think Patrick Williams needs to start against the Bucks? All these remaining questions that are lingering for the Chicago Bulls, and things that they need to try to answer as best they can before we head into the playoffs. How do you think the Bulls fare in this last and final week of the season?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Stop predicting things because it doesn't work out well for me. But what I will say is the things that you need to do to get the job done, the Bulls can do, and the Bulls have done in 3 games consistently.
Yeah.
Going into these next few games, they've gone to Vooch. They've rolled with the hot hand. They've tried to do, they played better defensively in these last 3 games. Like it wasn't great every play in Miami, but there was a lot of really good playing the lanes, playing the passing lanes, stuff like that. So like you need to continue to do that. And we have to go into those games understanding if Patrick Williams does find his way into the starting lineup finally, which I'm not bothered by that either. Like y'all understand he's playing a ton of minutes, right? Like starting
I had
lineup,
that conversation on my stream too. It's like
starting lineup means
he needs
nothing.
to be starting. I'm like, not only is Patrick Williams now out there in crunch time, he's playing over 30 minutes. Like,
do you know what the starting lineup means? At 4, sitting at 6'7", out of FSU, Patrick Williams. Like that's all it means. Like it means the starting lineup means nothing. It's about how you stagger it out. Listen, Muzz used to be like, Taj Gibson needs to be in the starting lineup, but he absolutely was out there defensively at the end of the game, standing next to Joakim Noah because he was the next best defender on the team. Like in the paint anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like starting lineup don't mean nothing to me. So Patrick Williams, if he does start or play the heavy minutes we've seen him play, if he's on Giannis, he's not going to have the same offensive output.
Yeah, period.
Like you're just not, because I go into that game literally as Billy Donovan, like, I don't know what you got to do. I don't know if you're going to be able to do it, but make his life miserable. I understand he's the MVP. I understand he is huge. I understand he's probably the strongest man in the NBA, minus Zion Williamson if he's healthy. Make his life miserable.
Yeah.
So, like, you're going to be doing so much on that end, you're probably not going to give a great night on the other end of the floor. And we've seen that from guys like Jimmy Butler. We've seen that from guys like, name the Miami guy or name the top defensive guy, where they have tougher nights because they're working so hard on the defensive end trying to stay in front of somebody. So don't expect the same offensive output. You're going to absolutely need Coby White to get the job done. He's got to come out of this slump. I think if he doesn't come out of this slump, it's going to be hard for you to get these next couple of wins. But as of now, I would say let's see how the numbers play out, right? Bulls are 72.2% at home this season. That trend seems to still be there based on the fact that they just lost to Miami. If the numbers are accurate, we should win the rest of our games at home, right? Like, what we got 3 games left?
We got 3 games left at home.
We should win the rest of our games at home. So we'll see. We'll see if that home court advantage really means something to the Bulls where they can dig deep. The Milwaukee game, you weren't out of those games. Yeah. Except the last one you was out of. But most of those games you were competing in, you were fighting in, you were right there with them. Boston is the same way. Boston didn't beat us head and shoulders, blow us out. We beat them one time, and then the one time they beat us, they beat us by 1, and we had a chance at the last second bucket. So those are 2 games that you're in right there. And I'm gonna be real with you. If you win those games and you beat the Clippers with Paul George, you feel good coming out of this stretch, even with a loss to Miami. Because here's the thing. You might not have to see Miami.
Exactly. One thing that I do want to point out and ask you though, Pat, is that I know you said Coby workout, and I'm only asking you this question based off Billy Donovan and what he said about Patrick Williams, that he doesn't go off hype, he doesn't go off expectations. Like Pat had to earn his way back into the starting lineup and earn minutes because Pat's minutes were decreasing before he laid out that challenge for Patrick. Is it time that maybe Coby doesn't get the 20 minutes that he's been getting? Javonte had 2 minutes in the first half of the game against the Miami Heat. Is it time for maybe Coby's minutes to go to Javonte? Is it time for Coby's minutes maybe to go to Derrick Jones Jr.? Is it time for Coby's minutes to get spread out between the two? What do you think needs to happen with Coby, or does he get another game to try to prove himself at his normal pace of 20 to 21 minutes?
I think the problem is more so the construction of this team. Like I've said on Locked On many a times, like I've said on the Windy City Breeze, you've said it over on Chicago Bulls Central. This team is built more defensively than offensively.
Yeah.
Like the next best offensive player off of your bench after Coby White is Matt Thomas.
Damn. You're not wrong. I never sat down and thought about it that way. You're not wrong.
Like the next guy that can knock down a shot is Matt Thomas. And that I'm gonna be honest with you, that I feel comfortable with knocking it down consistently. Here's the difference though.
Pat.
Coby White actually gives you a little bit on the defensive end. Now, was he getting cooked the other night? Yeah. But Coby White, like, actually, he made some good defensive plays. He bodied up some dudes. He got in front. Like, Coby White on the shooting side has irritated my soul. But I'll say I'm impressed at Coby White, how he's increased in his rebounding, how he's facilitated the ball when he's had to have it in his hands. Sometimes that boy be making some weird decisions, bro. What was that 2 games ago? Like I was 2 feet in front of him. He was like, here. I was like, dog, what are you like? Relax.
But then he'll do something like that time he made that pass between. I can't remember which defender's legs. He made it between their legs.
What is that? Like, how
pass.
do you? Yeah. How do you go back and forth between that? So that's the weird part. But even like. So, like, I think the part about Coby that sucks is, like, in games where he goes 0 for 9, if he doesn't give you any of that other stuff, he's useless. Yeah. Right? He's not giving you nothing on the court. So, like, after that, like, who we going to give it? You going to give it to Javonte? Okay, Javonte's coming out. He's going to play defense. He might knock down the corner 3. Maybe. They going to live with that. Derrick Jones, same thing. He's giving you a little more length on defense. I got length. I got Patrick Williams. You don't have anybody else that's going to score the ball for you. I mean, maybe if they brought back Marko Simonovic today, maybe that was
going to be the thing. The next thing that I ask is that now let's be clear. The G League season ended, so it's not like the whole recalled. Like I hate they worded that like, oh, they recalled him from the G League. You recalled him from a season that ended, people. But with that being said, like Marko had a 15 double-doubles down there in the G League overall this season. Really came on. That second stretch in the second half of the G League season. Do they take a look at Marko? Maybe. I don't expect like like it's so weird for them to call him up at this point. So weird.
Well, it's a you want him to be. Here's the thing. We know one thing for certain. AK thinks Marko's that dude.
Yeah.
So
You're going to be that dude.
you want him to be on the team and experience that playoff feel. You want him to play the OG Anunoby role.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? They went to OG got a ring,
yeah.
did nothing, had an injury, but he's got a ring. Comes out the next year, they play the bubble. They're mad competitive. OG's a big part of that in the bubble. Coming out this year, OG's been a big part of this run that they've gone on with nobody left. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you want people to experience just that feel of, hey, this is the playoffs. This is what it's going to be. This is the vibe. This is the intensity. And then when they come in the next season, yeah, you want him to play in it, of course. But, like, even if, say, the Bulls, I don't know how it's going to happen. Say the Bulls are blowing somebody out and you get them 10 minutes in there.
Yeah.
Just to feel like, oh, snap, like the building shaking. Like, this is dope. So, like, I think that's why they brought him back. There's nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to find somebody off of the bench that can be a consistent, definite offensive threat. And right now, you don't have that guy.
All right. Yeah. I mean, hopefully that guy can go back to being Coby White. Hopefully Coby finds his shot. I want to see Coby succeed. And we know that Coby has the ability and the skill. It's just not happening. So let's hope that Coby gets it together. Let's hope that Coby's able to figure it out. Because listen, like I said before, and like I was saying when I was being very vocal on not wanting to see the Bulls trade Coby at the trade deadline when Coby White is on, he completely changed the outlook of this team because he makes things easier. He keeps up the scoring pressure when Zach or DeMar are down. We need to see, especially with Lonzo Ball not being out there now too. So hopefully Coby can get back on track.
I'm with it. I agree with you, bro. I 100% agree with you. Let's see what these guys gonna do. Let's clap it up, man. Clap it up. Clap it up. When I tell you that immediately got chopped up to be a part of the show on a consistent basis. Oh
man, that is hilarious, fam. Well, all right, Pat.
That's old man me. I'm sorry. It was old man me. I hate
it. You're fine, bro. You're fine, man. But go ahead and give him your social media, man. Unless you got anything else, we're gonna get up out of here.
Let's do it, man. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. That's at PATTHEDESIGNER. Yes, I did go to public school, but they taught me how to spell. Also, follow me on everything or follow both of us on everything at Locked On Bulls. We got the Instagram cracking. I mean, the IG is cracking. Like, it's like 5,000 views a reel, likes coming in left and right, good conversations getting started. So tune in with us on that, man.
Absolutely. And if you want to follow me personally, you can do so at CEO Haize, at CEO Haize. You can also follow us collectively on every social media platform at Locked On Bulls. But that's it. I want to thank you guys for listening to Locked On Bulls and making us your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA, where the Locked On experts covering the biggest stories around the NBA Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast from. But that is it for Pat. This is Haize, and we out. Peace, y'all.
JV with a dub. Clap it up.